This is very exciting, world's first prime lens like this, designed for portrait photography or indoor sports. This is brand new Sigma 200mm f2 DG OS Sports. What's so special about 200mm prime lens? It creates superb compression. Compression makes the background seem closer to your subject than it really is, and also combining that with that aperture of f2, it really blurs the background, creates really nice bokeh. It is a full frame lens and it is available for Sony E mount, obviously, also L mount, obviously, because it's a Sigma, and I have been testing it on Lumix S1RII, so all the images you see in this video have been shot with this camera. I'm not a stranger, I have got a lot of experience using 135mm, which are, in a way, quite difficult to use. Also, I'm not a stranger using 70 to 200mm zooms, but this is a totally different beast. It's a different challenge to use this right and get the good results out of it. Quality-wise, optically, this is the best money can buy on the market right now. The sharpness is insane, edge to edge, even with the aperture wide open. Built-in stabilization helps to achieve sharper results handheld, even with the slower shutter speeds. Signature Sigma beautiful color and contrast. There's almost zero chromatic aberration. The flaring and ghosting and the usual loss of contrast when shooting towards strong light sources is superbly suppressed and not a problem at all. This gives optical performance I have only seen, from my experience, I have only seen with the Sony G Master lenses. The autofocus here works superbly well. There's no issues with hunting or not acquiring focus accurately. It is a professional lens designed for sports, so you do expect a high level of performance, and it delivers. My problem with this lens is that you have to be at the right place, right distance from your subject to achieve desired results, and with 200mm it's not always that simple. Everything seems to be too close, and as with other primes, shorter primes, stepping back one step or two makes a very little difference. It is advertised as a sports lens, and that could be a challenge, because if you're doing indoor sports like basketball, for example, and the players are moving all over the court and closer to you, static location for the prime lens like this could be a problem, because you could be most of the time too close. Also, shooting portrait, it's kind of okay when you're shooting head and shoulders, but anything from waist up or even a full body portrait, you have to really step back. I'm guessing here about 10-15 meters back to get a full body picture, and that is simply too far away to communicate with your model anymore. You have to shout or call them. It will be okay for more static or less dynamic sports, like for example tennis, maybe something like ping pong. Who knows? It's not because the autofocus doesn't work or lens cannot do it, it's just because that focal length could be very limiting. It is an outdoor lens in my opinion, and it's way less versatile than I hoped for. I'd go as far as say it is a one-trick pony. Great for outdoor portrait, maybe okay for wildlife, maybe okay for some indoor sports. I need to talk about the bokeh, the blurred parts of the images. A lot of expensive professional lenses are very clinical. This actually has got some character. Firstly, the blurred lights in the background, you can create really nice bokeh balls, which is kind of unusual. Also, at certain situations where the conditions are right, your distances are right, it also creates very dreamlike, like a watercolor patterns in the blurred parts of the images, which gives it a ton of character, makes it more unique in that sense. Closer you get with this lens, the more the background blurs, and seemingly perfect for close-ups. Although it is far away from the macro, it allows you to get very decent, you can get close enough, although the minimum focusing distance is 1.7 meter, not really close. The problem with that is it's very hard to guess where that 1.7 meter is, so there's a bit of a guessing work to capture something at the minimum focusing distance. I'm struggling to think what video application this focal length would be good for. You get the same beautiful image and shallow depth of field when filming with it as with photography. The autofocus works great. Generally speaking, the video captured with it looks really good. There is zero focus breathing visible, unusual and really good. Built-in stabilization makes it possible to get almost tripod-like shots handheld, but it is not a run-and-gun lens by any means. Not the most practical focal length for video, even if you only work with it outside. Just the same as with photography, it could be a great asset if you are shooting with it from the right distance away from your subject, but that's not always that simple with it. Built, there's no hiding that this is a big and heavy lens. I can tell you, I can feel it after holding it for so long. This is only second pro sports wide lens like this from Sigma. The first one was 300 to 600 millimeter. And from the moment you pick it up, you touch it, you know instantly that this is built to last and very high quality lens. It's got built-in lens collar. On some lenses you can take it off. Here you can rotate it obviously, but you can't take it off physically. You can unscrew the tripod foot if you wanted to. The tripod foot also is made a little bit longer than usual, so you can actually use it as a handle. It is heavy, 1,800 gram, 1.8 kilo, which limits actually the usage. It's not the lens you would shoot at the wedding with, and you wouldn't carry it with you all day long because it is simply too heavy for most people. This is where this foot comes in. You actually mount the lens on the tripod, not the camera with the lens on it. Don't know how it is with Sony cameras, but on Lumix S1RII I'm testing it with, there's a little bit of movement at the mount. This is normal with Lumix, with all lenses, but that means the lens this heavy could potentially damage the mount or rip it out if you simply hang the camera on a strap on your shoulder and let it dangle. The lens itself has got these loops built in to attach the strap to the lens and not the camera. Superbly smooth focus ring, very nice and smooth aperture ring. The aperture ring itself has got a click and declick switch, so you can change it to your own preference. Also nice, it has got a aperture ring lock, so you can lock it so you don't turn it by accident. There's lots of other switches on the lens as well. Your standard auto manual focus switch. You got a focus limiter. This limits the focus to be in a certain range, so for minimum focusing or for a distance focusing, so the lens doesn't have to hunt, it's in a zone you need it to be. There's optical stabilization switch in two positions. The first one is the standard handheld stabilization. The second one is a specialist one, is for panning, for photographing motorsports, for example, and it works if you got a camera in landscape or a portrait mode as well. There's a custom switch, C1, C2. This is to customize your functions through the Sigma dock, optional Sigma dock. Here you can customize, for example, the focus limiter and its range, or how the optical stabilization works. There are 3 focus hold buttons around the lens, and these can be programmed to do something else via the camera. Obviously 3 do the same thing. Sigma claims that it's a dust and splash resistant. I guess this is their way to say it is fully weather sealed. I think it is. And the filter thread is the huge 105mm. This is above standard sizes, so buying any filter for this, especially like a V&D filter for filming with this lens, could be very expensive. And the lens comes with this supplied solid and huge lens hood. Price and value for money, it's not a cheap lens. It is a pro category pro lens for professional photographers, and the price also reflects the spec, the unique spec. 200mm f2 is unique. It costs £3,000 here in UK or $3,300 in US. It's not a spur of the moment purchase. It's not a lens to buy to use once a year. If you even consider this kind of lens for this kind of money, you should know why and what for you need it. It is a specialist tool and not a first lens for someone who's just starting up, or only lens in your kit for everything. Conclusion, this is a very large wide aperture prime. It's for portrait photography, it's a dream come true. For everything else, it could be a beautiful nightmare. It does deliver beautiful, excellent optically results, but this focal length makes it very limiting in all the situations, and it is not a versatile lens. The optical quality, it's out of this world. The autofocus works really well. It's a sports lens for indoor sports, but for right indoor sports, you have to be at the right distance from the sports people you're photographing. It is a superb outdoor portrait lens. It's also a ideal lens for someone who does a specific type of photography on repeat. So you kind of know what you're gonna expect, you know where you have to be, you know the space you have, and you keep repeating that professionally. This kind of does that very well. It's not a lens for everything. It's not as versatile as 85mm, even 135mm, and certainly not as versatile as 70-200 f2.8, for example. It is expensive, it is large, it is wide status symbol in some way. A status symbol that can shoot insanely good images or video. The price, the very high price tag, narrows really the audience, narrows who this lens is for. And if you're thinking of buying this lens is on your radar because of the 200mm and f2.0 aperture, you should know why and what for you need it. For all those portrait photographers who shoot portraits outside, this is a dream come true, not a beautiful nightmare. Thank you for watching. This is it from me. I hope this was in some way helpful or informative. You know the drill is, you like, you comment, you subscribe if you want to, and I'm gonna see you in the next one.